How's it going today, guys? I know it's been a while since I've done a house video. I've just been busy at work and whatnot, but I decided to go on a 8, 9, 10 hour walk today out in the middle of nowhere. As you can see, there's nothing around me at all. I'm gonna go show you guys an old farmhouse. It's one of my favorites. I've had this on my channel before plenty of times. I call this house the Brickhouse, but it's been a minute since I've come out here during the spring or the summertime. The last time I showed you guys this house, it just got done snowing, so I decided to come out here today and give you guys a different perspective on it. Still got quite a ways to walk in. I probably started this video a little early, but oh wells. As you can see, this old house is built right next to a creek, and they always seem to be like that back in the day because it was much harder to access water before the Grand Coulee Dam was put in and irrigation was brought everywhere, especially to the farmers. It was kind of life-changing for them. But back in these times, when some of these early settlers came here, there was nothing of the sort for them available. They had to survive, you know, with their wit and their intelligence to make it out here back in the day. Very peaceful time, but also a very scary time, if you ask me. Because I haven't seen like a really good winter hit this area for a while, but I have been alive long enough to see a couple really bad winters. And if you were stuck out here all by yourself in the middle of nowhere during a really bad winter, you and your family could potentially be in a lot of trouble. I think I just stirred up some deer down here. Let me zoom up and see if I can show you guys. You see the deer down there? That's pretty cool. Anyways, we're getting pretty close to our entry point here. See if I can show you guys a zoomed up shot of the house. Isn't she a beauty? One of my favorite houses of all time. I know I say that about every single house I show you guys, but each one of them really is one of my favorite houses of all time. I can't help it. Nice and windy up here on the plateaus, but I don't mind. This morning it's been pretty hot. My body's still getting used to springtime. Spring's in the air, as you can see. And the draw, or the creek that was down here at one time, is finally starting to dry up. I remember how wet it was this winter. Now I'm getting closer to the homestead, and yeah, as I suspected, the draw is pretty much dry. And I wanted to come see this house in the springtime because during the summer it could be pretty hectic, and these bushes grow to be about as tall as me out here. So give you guys a view of the homestead here. Pretty amazing little farmhouse. There's so much I'd like to know about it. Some pretty unique houses up here in the area. Zoom up for you guys. See the bird? That's so cool. I love these houses because they're like timestamps to the past. And like I said, the more I talk to the owners of these places and the more I talk to people about these abandoned houses, the more I kind of get the idea that they're definitely not going to be up for much longer, many of them. So not only do I want to capture them, but I want to capture these houses in the winter, the summer, the spring, the fall, at nighttime, during the sunrise, during the sunset, during thunderstorms, you know, so on and so forth. Just to give everybody an idea what life was really like out here. It's always something that's interested me about these old pioneer farmhouses, is wondering about the lives of the people that once lived in them here. Because I assume a family lived here at one point, and I often think, you know, what were their lives like? And this was probably a absolutely beautiful house when it was first built. I tell you what, I just see all the potential that this house had back in the day. And there's many reasons why a house like this ends up getting abandoned, but it still is pretty sad to see. You know, families go through disputes. Sometimes the house just costs more to fix up than it's even worth. And, you know, you look at a lot of these old materials, this lath and plaster build that they used back in the day, and nobody's really trying to refurbish that, I don't think. And then, like we've talked about in previous episodes, once you get a leak, once that roof starts deteriorating, it's all over. Then the animals move in, and then the vandals show up, and before you know it, the house just really goes downhill. And the farther it is in its decline, it makes it even less likely that somebody would want to fix it. Because I would believe that everybody would agree with me that this house is definitely damaged beyond repair. And it's just waiting to get knocked down someday. Sure do love these big windows that they used to have. I'm surprised this living room area doesn't have more windows, to be honest with you guys. It seems like it might be lacking a little bit. And all the plaster and the dust from the roof is falling onto these stairs, making these stairs heavier and heavier, and they'll be the next things to really start deteriorating. As you can see, all the plasters come off the walls. It's just the little sticks now. And it is crazy how patient they were nailing and measuring out each and every one of these little sticks. So now we're going upstairs. This is a really cool upstairs too. I always liked the awesome closet space they had right here. I loved how they built these old houses back in the day too, just giving you like these little, I don't know what you would call them, but like a nook. Like this isn't a bedroom here because, you know, everybody has to walk through here, but just a cool little space here. Maybe you have a chair over in the corner and you can look out the window and see the entrance of your property. Everything's falling apart though. There used to be 2 little workshops here, and then the third one over there is still standing, but it's got no roof, so it isn't like it's gonna last forever. Let's keep looking around. Show you guys the rest of the upstairs. It's a whole different world in the springtime, and it's a whole different world out here deep in the summertime, and it's a whole different world in the fall, and it's a whole different world in the winter. So I'm glad I've been able to show you guys a couple different climates out here over the last couple months, because I try not to do it anymore, but unfortunately I ended up spending this winter in Washington State, and I'm not going to be going back to Puerto Rico until next winter, so I tried to make the most of it and go to as many of these houses after it snowed as possible, just to show you guys the difference, you know. Got an old dried up tree, and probably the newest building in the whole property right down there. That old shed. Yeah, like I said, everything's pretty much fallen apart. The roof has definitely seen better days, and still a decently solid structure though. Another cool little closet, or closet that once was. It's just amazing how they put all this up with all these little sticks. And then the door that goes to nowhere, like mostly all of these abandoned houses, I swear there had to have been a porch or something out here at one time. You got some old outbuildings, and you can see the root cellar down there. That's how they kept their food cool back in the day, is have it be a certain number of feet underground, and it'll maintain a, you know, relatively normal temperature. It's kind of like living in a basement. It's the best way I'd describe it, but maybe a little cooler. It's just definitely a lot more temperature control, especially during the hot summer months. It's just so much to like about this house. I can go on and on. Definitely going to be sad when this house sees its final days. I know that they're probably going to take it down soon, or eventually. I've decided too that if any time that these houses actually get taken down, I'd like to come and volunteer my time and help them take it down and document it, because I'm really interested in the death of a house. Look at the roof. This roof's actually, believe it or not, in pretty good shape compared to a lot of them. There's still a lot of shingle left. You can tell how they set the roof up. They just had the boards, and then they put cedar shakes over it. The nails are starting to come out. The siding's falling off. It's pretty awesome stuff. Got some sort of material in the valley there. And right here too. They did what they could with the materials that they had. I must say, I'm pretty impressed. And this house helped me answer a lot of questions too about these doorways that go to nowhere. And it definitely confirmed to me that they were porches at one time, which is what I think that doorway that goes to nowhere over there was. There's actually a porch on this side too. So this house had porches on both sides, because I can see the top of the porch here. And usually these things have long since completely fallen down by the time I get to one of these old houses. So it just ends up being a doorway to nothing here. Yep, another bird just flew out. There's bird nests all over up here, hidden up in the rafters. So it's kind of their home now. So now we're gonna head back downstairs and I'm gonna show you guys around outside a little bit. There's a lot to like about this house. It was a wonderful homestead back in the day, I'm sure. I'd love to see some old pictures of it just to see what it looked like right after it was first built. But finding information like that, like I've said previously in my channel, is pretty tough. Old mattress, an old stove. This was somebody's porch back in the day. Everything's falling apart though. Pretty sad to see. It just gets a little bit worse every time I stop by and visit. Old gate. Yeah, let's go look around out here. It's a real nice sunny spring day out and everything's coming to life. Bushes are starting to grow, the flowers are starting to blossom. The sun's getting in the way of all my pictures and it's really annoying, but bear with me. There's not a whole lot I can do about it. Go try to get another angle of the house. This house always got my attention too, just because of how boxy it is now. Maybe the foundation is sinking, which is highly probable, but I mean the windows don't even seem like they were put in straight sometimes, and it just really throws me off, like somebody that didn't necessarily know how to build houses came here and put one together back in the day, and whoever did it still did a pretty bang up job. I mean, this is a nice, unique little house, but don't the windows just seem a little off? Maybe it's just me. I mean, they're just not really proportionate. There's not really a standard size, and they just don't seem to be fully even sometimes, is the best way I could describe it. They had a couple fireplaces. Pretty decent sized house for back in the day out here. The old brick sheeting. I love this brick sheeting. Now, something else I've been wondering, if anybody is watching this channel and paying attention, what are those? Is that some sort of old electrical connection? That maybe some wires went from those to a power pole or something, and that's how they got power. I'm sure that this house is a fuse box power grid at best. But I don't know, you guys tell me. I see some more of them over here and I just not quite sure what they are. kind of weird. Like I said, here in the next couple months, it's gonna get real bushy out here. And walking around here is not gonna be easy, so I'm glad I just decided to do it this spring before it got too hot. Check out some of the old workshops out here out back. This is pretty random. What's the point of this? Does anybody know? You can tell that they had the old concrete foundation, even put in the workshop here. Pretty cool little workshop, really. Can't really open it up anymore because the roof is sinking into it now, and it looks like an old beat up fireplace. This is kind of an interesting area. Sometimes I wonder if it was a workshop or if maybe the farmhand lived back here, because farmers back in the day, it always helped to have a farmhand, and they would typically, you know, build a smaller structure like this for them to live in. Another cool little shelving area put into the wall. Some old rusted cans down here. Another small little room with a old broken toilet. I definitely don't think the toilet was in here. It was definitely put in here later, but this little workshop or housing area at least had electricity. See, like, what's that? Does anybody know? Please let me know in the comments. I have so many questions about this house. Another good shot of the house in the sun. Definitely a random beauty here. The old root cellar. Slowly deteriorating. It's crazy how much work they put into making something like this. They had to dig the hole. Then they had to do a foundation of concrete, and look at how they stacked all these bricks, and then they put some sort of plaster over that. A lot of work, but it definitely feels cooler in here, and it'd probably keep your food good for a lot longer than if it was sitting out there or sitting in the house during the summertime. So they had to do stuff like this, but they really were good builders, especially if the guy that ran this homestead wasn't really a home builder. He was just a do-it-yourself guy, which many of them were back in the day. You definitely had to be a jack of all trades to make it here back in the old times. You had to be a house builder, a farmer, a gardener, a doctor, a mechanic. I mean, everything. You had to know everything to make it out here. So I got one final place to show you guys in this house, and it's the basement. I don't think I've ever showed you guys the basement before. It's kind of dark and dreary down there, so bear with me. What an amazing rock foundation they put together down here. Gosh, how long did this take for them to build something like this? Just kind of in awe, to be honest with you guys. Just a small little basement. I think the foundation sunk into the ground a little bit because I can barely stand up. And there's the outside. Look at that brickwork though. Isn't it just a beauty? I just marvel at how good of a job they did. And they just framed in a door. And they got water pipes, an old school hot water heater chilling down here, and a nice little staircase. But this is one of the best little basements I've ever seen in a old abandoned farmhouse. And look at this. Old water jug, a lot of rusty old cans, and you know, just miscellaneous stuff like that. Couple jars. You can see where the soot's starting to fill up the basement floor though, and that might be another reason why it's hard to stand, because that soot just keeps piling up and piling up. And wait a minute, I think I just saw maybe a power box over here that would answer a lot of questions about the house. Not really sure what it is. It's too dark, but it looks like it's some sort of fuse box up there. It's pretty cool. This must have been the kitchen area here. I could tell by the paper towel roll holder right there. I'm sorry about the sun, you guys. It's gonna be like either dark or really, really bright in this walk and talk. And got an old plug in and a light switch, so yeah, I think this house, like a decent amount of other farmhouses that are left abandoned out in the middle of nowhere in Washington State, it can be really hard to get an exact time stamp on it because people have lived in it through multiple eras. You can definitely see the lath and plaster, but it also had electricity and a hot water heater, and you know, so it was probably built before all that, and then later on somebody added to it, you know. But like I said, time stamping these houses has always been pretty difficult for me. And some of you guys watching can probably do a better job at it than I can. And that's about it for today's walk and talk. See y'all in the next one.